Alrighty, good Thursday morning, Arkansas. This is Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron back here once again. I'm going to give you guys a live stream going over what to expect as we get towards this afternoon, this evening, breaking everything down in terms of the severe weather outbreak for today here. So I'm going to be going over a lot of information. I know everybody's got questions and everything. Just bear with me for just a few minutes. Let me get all this information out real fast, and then we will get back. We will get to your questions there. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to tackle the number one question that I've gotten this morning. By the way, I have my fine and dandy tablet here for the questions. We're going to talk about the moisture. We're going to talk about what's going on in terms of where the boundary is right now. And I told you guys this last night. Me and Derek both told you this last night, that the boundary, wherever it stalls out today, is going to play a very crucial role on who sees what in terms of the severe weather threat for today here. So the first concerning thing that I'm seeing on the board this morning is cloud breaks. Northern Arkansas, you've got cloud breaks right now. Across eastern Oklahoma, you have cloud breaks. And across southern Arkansas, you have some sunshine peeking out this morning and everything like that. So that's the first thing that is alarming on the board at this moment. And the majority of the rainfall that we were originally anticipating, remember, it was supposed to be over Arkansas throughout much of the day and stuff like that, is further to the south. It's across North Louisiana, it's across southeastern southeastern parts of the country and stuff like that. So that's very concerning on our part, because we don't want any sunshine, we don't want any cloud breaks today, because that's what's going to lead to the instability starting to get going here. So let's go ahead and talk to you guys about the moisture content, and then once I get past the moisture content, then I'll start talking to you guys about the about what's to expect here in terms of risk area here. Now, this product right here is what we call surface-based instability, or basically severe thunderstorm fuel. And basically what it is it's something that you use in terms of trying to dictate one of the ingredients for potential severe weather. In this case, I'm going to use it as a kind of a position on where the warm front is right now, because yes, you have 60-degree dew points north of this, but this is what's going to make or break your severe weather for today. So right now, it is centered just south and west of Little Rock at this point. I'd put it probably from Mena to over just south of Pine Bluff down to Greenville at this current time. So something that we're just going to have to continue to monitor. This is going to continue to move to the north and east over the next couple of hours. And wherever this stalls out is where you're going to have the potential of seeing significant severe weather. We're talking about potential tornadoes. Some of them could be strong and violent. A couple of them potentially could be long tracked. We will have to watch out for the hail threat, and also the significant damaging winds upwards to 75 miles per hour or greater here. And also, on top of that, the potential of flash flooding. And I do believe the flash flooding will probably be one of the last threats that we'll be dealing with as the heavy rainfall really starts to settle in later on tonight in the first part of your Friday morning here. So let's go ahead and talk to you guys about this here. So I'm going to switch this over to our graphics here. So before we talked about this first thing yesterday, this is the storm planning time frame. We've been at a few days out, and then yesterday we were the day before. Now we're at the day of. So today what I want you guys to do while it's quiet, remind your family of the communication plans that you guys have been talking about the last couple of days. Know what to do when severe weather strikes. And also, I'm going to stress this right now, when a warning gets issued, you may have a few seconds. On our end, we're going to try to give you 15 to upwards to 30 minutes leeway time to seek shelter. So if you hear your city get called out during severe weather coverage today, take action immediately, because you're not going to have a lot of time to react, especially with the storm motions for today here, okay? So let's go ahead and talk to you guys about this as well. This is going to be the severe weather text, and this is going to be the text alerts. We got all the bugs and stuff fixed, so we're fine on that part. Make sure you go to ArkansasWeatherWatchers.com and sign up, guys. That's the biggest thing. If one of my forecasters or moderators could put that link in the comments, I would fully appreciate it. But right now, it's Ritual 4. We're going to have to watch severe weather threat closely here. But if I want you guys to make sure that you have those alerts sent to your phone, especially this afternoon and into this evening here. So make sure you go to ArkansasWeatherWatchers.com. Has all that information on there that you need. Make sure you put your phone number in there and the county. Make sure you limit it to only 2 phone numbers per your household. We'll work on increasing that limit later on in the spring, but right now, only 2 per household at this point here. So just keep that in mind for this afternoon and into this evening here. And also, one more thing I want to address is on YouTube. If you're watching this from YouTube, this is going to switch over after this live stream. It's going to switch over to all-day continuous coverage. So keep that in mind. If you're on Facebook, due to the algorithm issue, I can't do the same thing on Facebook. However, if there is a tornado warning, we will switch back on the Facebook, and we will have coverage on Facebook as well. So you're not missing anything if you don't have YouTube. But if you do have YouTube, or you have us on YouTube TV, we will have all-day continuous severe weather coverage. Basically, it's going to be a loop of timing, your severe weather outlooks, and everything like that. So we'll have that immediately after this live stream is over. But you're not missing anything on Facebook. If a warning gets issued on Facebook, or we deem it necessary to go live on Facebook, we will be here this afternoon and into this evening. So keep that in mind across the board. Okay, so one more thing before I start going over timing. The biggest thing I want to stress to you guys right now is making sure you know where to go where a tornado warning gets issued. Okay, know what to do. Make sure that you are moving into your basement. You have an emergency kit there just to be on the safe side. If you don't have a basement, it's not the end of the world. Make sure you move to an interior room with no windows, and also make sure you put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Don't go to any exterior walls. Don't go to any windows. Don't go to the top floor or anything like that, and do not go anywhere outside when there's a tornado warning, because no place outside is safe during a tornado warning unless you have an outdoor tornado shelter. So keep that in mind later on this afternoon into this evening here. So now that I've gotten all that speech out of the way, we're going to talk about timing real quickly here, and then I'm going to start breaking down everyone's questions that I'm seeing on both YouTube and on Facebook here. So at this particular moment, here's our timing map. You're not going to miss anything if you missed this live stream. We're going to have this information as soon as the live stream is over here. But at this given moment, Western Arkansas, we're going to put you guys at about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Now, I've been back and forth between 3 and 4. It just depends on how fast the storms are going to be moving out of eastern Oklahoma and northeastern Texas. However, I'm going to stick with 5 for now, but I'll let you guys know that timing's a little bit earlier over there. So 5 p.m. to as late as midnight tonight in central Arkansas, northern Arkansas, and down in the southern Arkansas. We're going to put you guys, as of right now, 7 p.m. to as late as 2 o'clock in the morning. And as I mentioned before, if storms are moving a lot quicker than expected, we will have to update this timing map, so just kind of keep that in mind. But we're going to put you guys about 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. from Harrison to Mount Home, all the way down to Russellville to Conway, the Mayflower area, the Little Rock area, all the way down to Hot Springs, all the way down to Camden and El Dorado, and cross it down there at this given point. And in eastern, and particularly northeastern Arkansas, we're going to put you guys at 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I'm probably what I'm going to do with the next update from that Walnut Ridge to Jonesboro to Memphis area. I may bump you guys up to probably about 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, because you'll have a lingering tornado threat up there as your low pressure begins to lift to the northeast. So we're going to watch you guys closely during the overnight hours up there in the far northeastern quarter of the state tonight here. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're staying with this, guys. The biggest thing I want to stress to you guys too is if you have a Roku TV or a smart TV, make sure you go and download the YouTube app, because you will have that coverage all day long. If you don't have it, it's not the end of the world. We're going to have coverage on both Facebook, YouTube, Discord, Twitter, all the platforms that we have available. We're going to have information, so you're not missing a thing. And make sure you sign up for those text alerts, guys, because those text alerts are going to be your best friend this afternoon and into this evening here, okay? So let's break down this risk. This is what we've got. Northwestern Arkansas, you're in a marginal risk. That doesn't mean squat. You can still see severe weather up there in northwestern Arkansas, so keep that in mind up there at this time. From Fort Smith to Russellville, over to Batesville to Jonesboro, we've got you in a slight risk at this point. We're going to watch you guys closely up there. I do believe, I will say up there northeastern Arkansas, I wouldn't be surprised probably with the next update or so that you guys might get bumped up to an enhanced, given that overnight threat. But I think they're probably keeping it in a slight right now, given the timing of how late it's going to be up there in northeastern Arkansas. But I'm going to keep a close eye on you guys up there, especially during the overnight hours tonight. But Further to the south, we're talking from Waldron over to Little Rock to Conway, Mayflower, the Valonia area, over to Searcy, to Brinkley, to Memphis, down to Pine Bluff, Monticello, Lake Village, Croston, same areas that saw severe weather last night. You're back under the gun once again for the potential of seeing more severe weather. That's the enhanced risk, and that's going to go for the potential strong tornadoes, also potential of hail, and significant damaging winds upwards to 75 miles per hour or greater. And then in southwestern Arkansas, the bullseye from Mena to Hot Springs to Arkadelphia, El Dorado, Camden, Magnolia, Texarkana, Hope, and DeQueen. You guys are in the moderate risk area at this point, and that's going to go for the potential of strong tornadoes. A few of those tornadoes could be long tracked. We're talking EF2 plus tornado potential down there. The potential of significant large hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. You guys saw it yesterday in Hot Springs. We had a few reports in Stuttgart and also other areas across southern Arkansas last night. And also the potential of significant damaging winds, 75 miles per hour or greater. And we'll have to watch out for the flooding threat. That's the biggest thing. I know everybody's kind of focusing on the severe threat. We cannot forget about the flash flood risk for today. The flood threat is legit, it's real, and it's the number one cause of deaths when you're talking about severe weather. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the flood threat. And that flood threat is going to rapidly increase during the overnight hours here. Okay, so here's the tornado threat, and here is the high wind threat at this point. And notice something. Even if you're not in the moderate risk area, if you're in the enhanced risk, you still have the potential of seeing strong tornadoes. So keep that in mind. That's from Waldron over to Conway, Mayflower, Valonia, to Little Rock, over to Memphis, down into southern Arkansas. We're talking from the Queen to Texarkana, over to Magnolia, Camden, El Dorado, Monticello, Crosset, Lake Village. You guys are back under the gun once again with potential of seeing significant tornadoes down there. EF2 plus will be possible down there in southern Arkansas. Further to the north, I don't want anybody dropping their guard or being severe weather biased because you're not in the hatched area or you're not in the moderate or the enhanced. Northern and particularly northeastern Arkansas, you guys are on a low threat right now, but that doesn't mean you won't see any tornado warnings or anything like that. So keep that in mind up there in northern Arkansas. We're going to watch you guys very, very closely as we get towards this afternoon and into this evening and into tonight. And in northwestern Arkansas, you're in a very low threat, but that doesn't mean anything. You can still see severe weather even in those very low to low risk areas. So make sure you have a game plan ready to go. And then the high wind threat over here, same thing, northwestern Arkansas, you're in a very low threat and the low threat. And a lot of people are not talking about you guys up there in northern Arkansas because central and south is stealing all the attention. North Arkansas, you're just as important to us as central and south Arkansas. So just because you're in a very low threat up there doesn't mean anything. You can still see severe weather up there in northern Arkansas. But central and down into southern Arkansas, from Waldron to Little Rock to Memphis, point south, that is all of southern Arkansas, that is pretty much all of central Arkansas, you have the threat of high winds. We're talking about the potential of 75 mile per hour winds or higher down there in central and southern Arkansas, and you will still see that threat up there in northern Arkansas as well. And that bottom text, I'm stressing you guys so much right now, if a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning is issued for your area, seek shelter immediately. That's the biggest thing we want to stress to you guys with this event coming up as we get towards later this afternoon into this evening. So what I'm going to do for you guys real quick is a lot of people are going to be tuning in, kind of wanting timing information. So we're going to leave the timing map up, and I'm going to start answering the questions here. So give me just 1 second. Let me start pulling up the questions here. So let me see here. So my forecasters are taking care of the link and everything like that here. So let me see here. Go over here. So yes, we're staying live on YouTube today. Like I mentioned before, I don't want anybody thinking that we're not going to be live on Facebook. We're going to be live on Facebook. The problem is with Facebook is there is an algorithm issue here on Facebook, and it will not allow you to go live continuously. It gives you probably a 7 to 8 hour limit, and then it cuts you off. Where YouTube, you don't have such limit. You can be live on YouTube for as long as you want. So that's why we're using YouTube over Facebook. But Facebook will be used if there is tornado warnings or significant severe weather ongoing. So keep that in mind We're not leaving Facebook or anything like that. We're using it for the urgent information. This is the information that you're going to need all day, but the urgent information, the warnings and stuff like that, we're using Facebook for that. That way people will be able to tune in and stuff like that without having to worry about an algorithm issue on Facebook here. But yeah, if you have YouTube, we're going to have this going all day long. This is going to be looping all day long, so keep that in mind. But on Facebook, it's going to be used for tornado warnings. It's going to be used for the significant severe weather here. So, and Haley, great comment. Turn around and do not drown here. Like I said before, a lot of people are ignoring the flood threat because the flood threat is, being buried over the tornado threat. It should not be the case. You make sure when that flooding threat gets started that you do not travel and that you turn around and do not drown if you have to get out at the current time here. So, Maddie, I'm going to answer your question here at this point. Don't look for the enhanced risk. Don't be severe weather biased with this setup. I'm going to stress that right now because we've seen that with the marginal and the slight risk areas. That's why I talked to you guys in Northern Arkansas more specifically versus Central and South. Because Central and South, you already know what the game plan is. You already know what to do. But in North Arkansas, you guys have been ignored because no one's really talked about you. Up there, you do have the risk of seeing severe weather, which does include the potential tornadoes. Do not let your guard down just because you're in a marginal slight risk. We stress this so much on our platforms. Make sure you have a game plan ready to go, regardless if you're in a marginal or you're in a slight or enhanced or whatever. Make sure you have a game plan ready to go because severe weather can strike whenever you're dealing with the marginal and the slight risk areas. And I'm seeing a lot of tweets on Twitter, by the way. One in particular is very concerning. I saw a sounding from Little Rock. One of my followers sent me a sounding from Little Rock here, and it's pretty concerning going into the night. That's what I'm saying. You guys need to have that game plan ready to go here. So the biggest thing is, do the text alerts know your location? The biggest thing with that right now is that's going to be a no because it's a very new product and it's still being developed and everything like that. It's great enough for letting you know. However, it's not to the locations just as of yet. That's probably going to be coming with the next update. So make sure you monitor for that, especially with the next event. But for this event, it does do it for your particular county. So wherever you're traveling to or whatever, make sure you set it for that particular county. That way you get the alerts across the board here. So what are the chances of this shifting north? I would say it could happen. This is what we call nowcast situations. Model guidance is going to tell you one thing, but you use real-time data at this point. Real-time data could easily shift this to the north, so keep that in mind across the area. Something that we're going to have to watch very closely as we get towards this time frame here. So, now, Jared, I saw that last night. Now, they didn't mention it in the 7 a.m. update this morning, but I did see that the one limiting factor was your 700 millibar temperatures here, and that kept you from going high risk. And I do agree. I think that's the only limiting factor from southwestern Arkansas seeing high risk out of this is your 700 millibar temperatures are just warm enough to keep the tornado threat from going what we call a 30%, which will be a high risk for tornadoes here. Now, obviously, if we get to early this afternoon and it appears at the 700 millibar level, it's going to be cooler. You may be dealing with an upgrade by that point, but we'll keep an eye on that throughout the day and into the night here. So this is the timing up. I got the timing up right here. So if anybody needs the timing information, it's going to be on the screen at this point. But from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., and I know a lot of people are tuning in from Central Arkansas. We love you guys so much. But we're not Central Arkansas biased. We cover the entire state of Arkansas. So 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. for the majority of the area. 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I'm going to stress this right now, that Memphis, that Wynn, Jonesboro, Walnut Ridge area, the Truman area up there, I'm going to watch you guys closely during the overnight hours. I think you guys are probably going to be the sneaky overnight tornado threat up there in northeastern Arkansas as your low pulls away. So we're going to watch you guys closely up there in northeastern Arkansas, dependent on where the warm front ultimately stands out. And I'm going to answer this one as well. Will you go live for thunderstorm warnings? Now, Derek did this with the last event, and I'm going to repeat the same thing he did. If there is a considerable damage tag or a destructive tag of with this severe thunderstorm warning, we will be live. We're going to have continuous coverage all day long on YouTube, but on Facebook, if something like that were to occur, you will see us live immediately. That's the biggest thing I want to stress right now is we're going to keep you guys updated on both Facebook and on YouTube at this point. That's a great comment. I'm not going to lie. I'll go outside and record. I want to be a storm chaser. Hey, if you want to do that, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you now, it's a dangerous job, brother. The biggest thing with this event, I wouldn't do it because you have too fast storm motions and the messy boat today. If you have to be out and you're an experienced chaser, that's awesome. But if you're not experienced, you don't know what you're doing, this is kind of an event that you don't need to be out there at this point here. So, TJ, great question. Did yesterday's weather change today's storms any? Yes and no. It did basically a half job. It brought the instability down enough, but it didn't kill it. It didn't kill it all and push it down into Louisiana like we were originally hoping it would do. We still have instability coming northward this morning across southern Arkansas, and it's about to be here in central Arkansas probably within the next, I'd say, an hour to hour and a half. So it did a half job. It did what it could. What happened is the majority of our rainfall went to Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, where you saw a tornado outbreak over there last night. And that outflow boundary that was supposed to push this down in Louisiana went 200 miles to the east. So it's saving Alabama and those areas over there, but it's not saving us here in Arkansas because it didn't come through the state. So that was a good question, TJ, regarding that at this point. So how do you feel about the HR? I'm going to tell you something, Andy. I haven't even looked at it this morning. When I get to this point in the severe weather coverage, I stop looking at model guidance and I start looking at real-time data and surface observations. I'm going to say it's 50-50. I think the HR has been showing moments of where it's trying to be correct, while in other moments it's not as correct here. And yesterday, I'd give it a 60 out of 70% of being accurate. It did what it could do with the event yesterday. So I guess that would answer your question. That's kind of how I feel about it. I'm kind of mixed emotions about it right now here. But at this point, I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking at surface observations and kind of seeing what radar and stuff is doing in real time at this point. So, Rebecca, I think you were answering another one. Now, is there an inversion in place today? Great question, Abigail. Now, there is for the majority of the day. Let me take a look at this real quickly here. I'm going to switch it over to this real fast here, and we're going to go over to there. There it is. So, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If this trend holds, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good. Cam, if you're looking at this right now, you might want to pay attention to this. So, Abigail, thank you for bringing that up. So, this is on the south side of the boundary. Let me see if I can get this up. Stand by for just 1 second. It should have switched over to our radar. Let me see here. Where are you? There you are. All right. So, there we go. So, this is what we call the sin level, or where Abigail's question right now will be an inversion. This is what we got in place. This is the capping in place across southern Arkansas. This is something you don't want to see when you're dealing with severe weather, because this right here will limit any thunderstorm development from going down there in South Arkansas. So you guys down there are going to continuously get more and more unstable. The atmosphere is going to become more prime for severe weather down here in the southern Arkansas. And what I'm concerned about is that if this makes it further north than expected, it's going to limit central and perhaps northern Arkansas from seeing showers and thunderstorms going up. And that, too, will bring a higher threat of severe weather, and that could lead to your warm front surging further north than what model guidance is suggesting. So going back to Andy's comment, that's why I'm not really trusting HR right now, because I don't think it's doing a good job with this event right now here. I think it's 50-50 right now with this event here. So we're going to watch this closely here. But Abigail, thank you so much for bringing that up here, because that is indeed concerning at this point. Now, if you're in a camper, what would you need to do if you're in a tornado warning here? Now, Eric, what I want you to do this morning is go for your location and pinpoint if you have any major cities or anything nearby for your area here. And what I want you to do here is, if there's a tornado warning that happens, or we say your city downstream, I want you to go find that shelter, because the biggest thing is being in a camper is not really safe whenever you're dealing with tornado warnings, because you really can't seek shelter in it. So I want you to find a grocery store or a gas station, or even attempt to try to stay with a friend tonight that has a sturdier house, because I don't want you in a camper if a tornado warning happens, because it's not safe, because you really can't seek shelter inside of a camper at this point. So Beth, I cannot stress this enough. Make sure you know where your counties is, guys, because the biggest thing is, and during coverage last night, we stressed this so much that we cannot answer questions during live coverage. We cannot do it. Matter of fact, most of the times the comments are even turned off because of the fact that we're so focused on the tornado warning or the severe thunderstorm warning and stuff like that. That's why we do lives like this in the morning time, or we do the continuous coverage. That way you're still continuously knowing the information. So this is the time now to ask the questions. This is the time now to stay updated and everything like that here, because when coverage starts, we cannot answer questions here. So you got to know where your county is. Very, very important at this point here, okay? So let me see here. So, and where's the boundary currently at this point? I'm going to switch it back to this, and this is basically where it is. So anywhere south of where you see this, where you see all that purple and that orange area, this is basically what we call a capping inversion. This is where your warm front is. It's basically, I put it from Memphis to Pine Bluff, Arkadelphia, over to DeQueen, and it's rapidly lifting northward at this point. That's where I would put the boundary at this current time here. Let me see here. So super chilly up there in Harrison. I hope you guys stay out of this. I really do. I hope you guys don't see any severe weather up there in North Arkansas for this event here. But the biggest thing is, and I'm going to draw you back to a couple of events we've had here in Arkansas, is it starts out that way. It starts cool and chilly, and then when you get south of that warm front, you're warm, you're unstable at this point. So keep that in mind. Yes, it's cooler this morning because a lot of areas in central and north Arkansas are on the north side of the boundary, while in south Arkansas, it's warm and unstable right now. So we're going to watch the progression of the warm front. For you guys up there in northern Arkansas, I hope it stays south of you guys. I really do. But we're going to have to watch it closely. But somebody in Arkansas, either it's going to be central or just south Arkansas, or the majority of the state is going to have to deal with this, depending on where this boundary ends up by the end of the day here, okay? So, Stephanie, I love your comment. There's a lot of people traveling to Hot Springs today and tonight for the state archery tournament. What time should we aim to be safe here in Hot Springs? So Hot Springs, I've got you from 7 p.m. To 2 a.m. The majority of the storms are going to be moving through your area about, I'd say, 8 to 9 o'clock tonight. Depending on storm motions, it may be a little quicker than that. We'll have to wait and see what happens later on this afternoon and this evening. But right now, I say 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And I can't go any more specific than this, because you're going to have storms that are going to develop well ahead of the main line. You're going to have storms that are going to get going across the area here. So I can't give you specifics minute by minute on when you're going to see a tornado warning or you're going to see severe weather and stuff like that. You can't predict that. But what you can do is give you a broad-based timing. That way you know what to do. So I say anywhere from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. is the best time to stay aware. If a warning is issued, you obviously know we're going to be here and we're going to let you guys know at this point. So Gina, is there any way that it could downgrade? Yes. You need, but here's your problem with this is you need the rainfall to begin to increase. You need the rainfall to begin to increase across central and across northern Arkansas to get this to downgrade. And unfortunately, the majority of the rainfall that we were looking at last night went to our east. It went over to the Alabama, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Tennessee area over there last night. So that rainfall that was supposed to be here this morning is not here. So that's why you still have the risk as high as it is. But there's always a possibility with that that it could potentially downgrade at any point. But something I would just something that I would just keep an eye on, Gina. Cal, he's our dark guy. Please don't try to be a hero. It will most likely be dark and very dangerous. Don't risk your life for a 30-second video. I love this comment, guys. A lot of people want to get famous on Facebook and on YouTube. I promise you guys, it's not worth your life. It's not. And that's going to go for any storm chaser that's out there today. Make sure that you're being safe out there, guys. Okay, this is going to be an event where you're going to have storms moving at you at 60 to 70 miles per hour. It's going to be likely after sunset unless you're out there in Texas and Oklahoma. Don't do it. It's not worth it, guys. I promise you, it is not worth your life for a 30-second video that may or may not even take off on Facebook or YouTube. So keep that in mind across the board. Don't do it, guys. If it's not worth it at this point. I love your comment, Kyle. No matter in your location in Arkansas, there is a risk for severe weather. Stay weather aware. I love your comment, Nicole. That's the biggest thing I want to stress to you guys right now. Larry's son has been in and out in Fort Smith. That's the biggest thing across the board is up there in northern and northwestern Arkansas. You guys are seeing sun breaks up there. Let's see what ends up happening, because that's what we don't want. We don't want any sun breaks with this event, because what that's going to do, it's going to allow your warm front to naturally move further north than what model guidance is throwing at you right now, because model guidance is trying to say, oh, hey, there's some cool air up here in northern Arkansas at this point. It's going to try to keep your warm air down to the south. But if you start seeing sun breaks up there in northern Arkansas and northwest, it's going to lift that warm front to the north. So you don't want that to happen today. This is one event. And I know a lot of people don't want to, a lot of people are saying, the rainfall would bless this event. This was one event that I would want the rainfall, because it would keep this severe threat under bay. And this is one event that you don't have any morning rainfall across the area here. So let me see here. Jennifer, I see yours. Instability, moisture, and tornado. Instability, moisture, wind shear equals tornado ingredients. Definitely, Jennifer. That's one of the key things that we look for here. Now, Stacy, and this is a very interesting comment. A very, very interesting comment. When will the tornado watch be issued? It will probably be sometime early this afternoon, and you guys are going to be known on that once this gets started. And Heidi, she does an amazing job doing the graphics and stuff like that, so she will let you know when the tornado watch gets issued and everything like that here. However, it's going to be an interesting caveat with this, and I talked to her last night. There could be the potential, and like I said before, don't bank on this. Do not bank on this right now. But I will say, whenever you have a 15% hash for the tornado potential in southwestern Arkansas, if they don't include central, you could see what we call a PDS tornado watch down there in southwestern Arkansas this afternoon and this evening. We will see. We'll have to wait and see that Storm Prediction Center's thing. I don't know if they're going to do that. If they include central Arkansas within that tornado watch, it will likely be a Wrangler tornado watch, which is just perfectly fine, because it means practically the same thing. You make sure that you're staying safe, making sure you're keeping an eye on rapidly changing conditions here. But that's an interesting one down there in southwestern Arkansas and northeastern Texas. And basically when I mean PDS, that is a particularly dangerous situation. Now, in this case, we will see. If they include central Arkansas in that tornado watch, it won't happen, because your threat of tornadoes is quote-unquote lower versus southwestern Arkansas, which would keep you from seeing that. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening with that. That's a very good question, Stacy. I literally forgot about that this morning here. So is there anything you can show us to tell us the projected instability level? As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to get that up for you guys over here momentarily at this point. And what I'm going to do is, during continuous coverage, I'm going to have that on YouTube and stuff like that. And we'll have that on Facebook and everything, so you're not missing anything on there as well here. So is there a tornado threat overnight and into tomorrow across Arkansas? Guy, literally guy, up there in northeastern Arkansas, we're going to have to watch that area very, very closely. That's the biggest thing I want to stress right now up there in northeastern Arkansas. So watch it closely. We're going to keep you guys updated during the overnight hours here, but I think that's a very sneaky threat that may try to get going up there in northeastern Arkansas as we get towards this evening and into tonight here. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so the map looked like Hatchford Hail in Sebastian County. Yes, that's correct. How large hail are we talking? Greater than 2 inches in diameter. That is very, very significant hail. We saw somewhat similar to what we saw last night across west central Arkansas and in the central and the southeastern Arkansas here. And then we had a hailstorm down there in southern Texas that was providing upwards of 3 inch in diameter hail at this point. Now, I'm going to go back up to this one. This one is a great question. Your mode will be both. You will have the potential of seeing supercells and then a line of storms that's going to come through as we get towards this evening and into the overnight hours here. This is going to be one event, and I'm gonna just take a peek. I'm gonna take a peek at the HR. I don't like using model data at this given moment. We'll take a peek at it real quickly here, and I want to see what it's wanting to do. So basically, and this is concerning. This is pretty concerning. We're gonna go over this. Okay, so this is the Futurecast, by the way. This is Futurecast. Is about 4 p.m. and the Nordic header up here. For some reason, it didn't change. Let me see if I can get my timing to change over here. So give me 1 second. All right. So, and I know that's a little bit off. Let me see if I can get that fixed for you guys real quickly here. But biggest thing is that's what it's wanting to do. So what you're looking at right now is the dew points. This is the dew points. And remember what I said earlier on is that I think I went to the wrong one. There it is. Okay. Let me go over to this one real fast. This one's going to be your timing up here. So I'm going to shrink this down. There we go. All right. So this is your dew points at this point. So basically what it's wanting to do, and if you go with the HRR, it puts that warm front basically from I-40 just south of Fort Smith, right over Conway, up and through here. This is way to the north than what we were originally looking at yesterday, where it had it down here in southern Arkansas. So obviously it continues to trend northward, which is a bad time for us here in Arkansas. North Arkansas, we will keep an eye on it, but definitely something that we're going to have to watch here. Now, I'm going to take this out all the way to 8 p.m. this evening. I'm going to wait and see what it does. Like I said before, I don't like using raw data, especially on a day of, but it should be loading up here just shortly here. But to kind of answer your question, that's what we're going to be looking at here is the instability, not the instability, supercells, and the potential of a line of storms moving through as we get towards the night here. So I'm going to switch it back over to the timing, and while that's on here, I'm going to load it up over here and kind of give you guys a perspective on what we're looking at here. Okay, so what is the chance of the warm front going north? I'd put good money on it, honestly. Particularly when I'm seeing with guidance, when I'm seeing the lack of rainfall up here in northern Arkansas, I'd put some money on it. I'd put some money on it that warm front's going to make it north of I-40 today. Across the area here. Now this is I'm gonna switch it over. Like I said before, I don't like using model data this close in range here, but I'm gonna take this over. Let's switch this over to the radar, and this is what's wanting to do. So this is about 9 p.m. this evening. This is your line of storms moving in, and we're gonna have to watch any supercells that get going down here in this environment. That's gonna be from Little Rock to Texarkana to El Dorado, over to Memphis. We're going to have to watch this very closely. Heavy rainfall may start to develop up here in northern Arkansas, which will save you guys. This will be your best case scenario. But I want to urge right now, this is DHR. It did not do 100% perfect with yesterday's event. So we'll keep an eye on it. Up there in northern Arkansas, right now, this would be your best case scenario. Central and south, you'll be dealing with a different situation. These purple cores that you're seeing, that's something that you're going to have to watch very closely. And this is what could potentially have those tornado or / QLCS tornadoes along that line. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as we get towards the evening and into the night. And I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to talk about northeastern Arkansas real quickly here. Up here in northeastern Arkansas, this is about 2 o'clock in the morning. We're going to have to watch you guys up there as the low begins to pull away. We're going to have to watch you guys up there in northeastern Arkansas. But to answer your question, Leonard, that's something that we're going to have to keep an eye on here is the progression of the warm front at this point. Also, it is important to pay attention right now. You got to know where your counties are, folks. You got to know where your cities are. Because I promise you, whenever we start live coverage, we're not going to be answering them. A lot of people last night were getting upset with us because we weren't talking about their specific counties or cities. We can't do that, everybody. We can't. There's no way, because it takes attention away from those that actually need that information when there's a tornado warning and stuff like that. So you gotta know where you are on the map. I love that comment, Nicole. You gotta know where you are across the board. So let me see here. Let me go over everything. Alicia, I agree with you, honestly. If these state tournaments that are going on this evening and tonight, I would postpone them, honestly, to tomorrow or sometime next week, because I wouldn't risk it with this event here, okay? So, let me see. Cloud cover across West Little Rock at this point. Fingers crossed that it stays cloudy today. Now, Here's the problem with that, Annie, is because of the fact that, yes, you have clouds, you still have that warm front moving north. You need more than cloud cover today. You need some heavy rainfall across northern and central Arkansas to keep you from seeing this warm front from coming north. You could still see that warm front move north because there's nothing holding it back. There's no rainfall. There's no thunderstorm activity. You guys have seen in previous events, especially last year, where we had all that morning rain, we had all that morning thunderstorms and stuff like that, and it prevented the frontal boundary from coming north. This time around, I don't think that's going to be the case. And by the way, if you stay on this live stream long enough, we're going to get the day one update from the Storm Prediction Center within the next, I'd say, 8 minutes from now. So if you stay with me, we'll have that information for you guys here. So define sunbreak. Basically, the sun breakup up here in Baxter County. That's up in northern Arkansas. So you guys are seeing it this morning. That ties right back to Annie's comment. Yes, it's cloudy, but the problem is North Arkansas, you have no rainfall. You have little to no cloud cover up there. There's nothing holding this warm front back from surging northward compared to what Model Guys is doing right now. That's the biggest thing I'm urging at this point. So Sherry and Annie's comments kind of tied in together because North Arkansas, you guys are the dictators of who sees the severe weather today. And if you don't see the rainfall until tonight, that warm front's going to shoot north before that rainfall begins to develop up there in northern Arkansas. Jeremy, will there be a high risk? You don't need one. You don't need a high risk with this event. A marginal is more than enough for this event. A slight risk is more than enough. An enhanced risk is more than enough. A moderate risk is more than enough. If you have any sort of severe weather threat for today, that's more than enough to have you aware and keep you updated on the situation here. But I'd be very interested to see what they do with the 10:30 a.m. update. My money is they're not going to change anything, but we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated if that does occur here. All right, so let me see here. I ask myself every day why I live here. Oh, goodness, I love that comment. You got to love it. It's Arkansas weather. Now, this one is a great comment. Could Central Arkansas be upgraded to a moderate? Now, my money is going to be potentially yes, and it's just because your warm front's further north than expected. I wanted to come to you guys this morning and tell you, oh, hey, the warm front's further south than expected. You don't have to worry about it. Nothing's going to happen. Unfortunately, all that good rainfall we had last night went to Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. It went straight east. So that boundary that was supposed to clear us out, it moved east. So we are back under the threat for seeing significant severe weather once again today because your moisture is just going to come rapidly back to the north. So Central Arkansas, I say it's a good shot. If it doesn't include all of Central Arkansas, I would say probably that southwestern portion, probably from Benton, the Bott side over to Hot Springs and stuff like that. I think it may include that area if they don't do it for the wind. We'll see what ends up happening with that here. So let's consider northeastern Arkansas. I'd put Walnut Ridge, Jonesboro, the wind area, Truman up towards Blytheville over to Memphis. Basically that top right corner of your screen here where you see that 8-3, that area is where I would consider northeastern Arkansas here, okay? So now I don't have that loaded up over here just yet. Angela, the reason why I'm not showing you Futurecast is because it runs off of model data. And if you know me personally, I don't like using model data on the day of. I hate it because of the fact that it tells one side of the story. Like so far, I'm not really hiding it or anything like that. I just don't think it's doing a good job with this event. I think you're going to have to keep an eye on radar throughout the day because radar, real-time radar, may be drastically different from what Model Guys is trying to tell you right now. That's why I'm not blasting you guys with a feature cast right now, is because I don't think Model Data is doing a good job with this event here. But if I start to feel like it is starting to get an idea, I may post one on the page here. But right now, I don't think it's going to do a good job with this event here. So let me see here. Yeah, I'm worried about it trending northward. Let me see here. I'm worried about it trending northward here because I'm right on that Woodruff to Jackson County line. Got to watch you guys closely up there in northern Arkansas. Like I said before, it's going to depend. Is it going to be the heavy rainfall that's going to get you guys first, or is it going to be the warm front? And I'm going to tell you now, unless you want severe weather, you better hope it's that heavy rainfall that gets up there in northern Arkansas early here. So, will the warm front make it north of Searcy? Let me explain this about the warm front. Now, like I mentioned before, it's going to be heavy rainfall versus the warm front. Who gets there first? Is it the heavy rainfall that develops and keeps the warm front south? Or is it the warm front and then the heavy rainfall starts? My money right now, and especially the Searcy area, I think the warm front's going to get to you first before the heavy rainfall threat does. So we'll see what ends up happening with this. Now, that is a great question. I was looking forward for somebody to ask me this one here. So if it shifts northward, what does that mean for southern Arkansas? What does that mean southward? Your threat is going to increase even more the further north this goes, because you're bringing all that instability and the moisture northward. So if this obviously continues to shift to the northward, it's going to bring even more into central and southern Arkansas. So keep that in mind here. So if that warm front, if the warm front's from Fayetteville to Mount View to Walnut Ridge, then central and south, you're going to be under under a serious threat of seeing severe weather as we get towards the afternoon this evening. So the progression of that warm front is going to be crazy. Something that we're going to have to watch very, very closely here. So let me see here. A lot of people are pulling up soundings for today here, and it's not pretty, guys. It is not pretty. So let me see here. So yeah, timing's on the screen right now. Everybody that's asking timing, it is on the screen at this point. Let me see here. We don't have a day one update right now here. So I'm going to see if what they're gonna end up doing with this. We do have a mesoscale discussion. Is it going to be? Oh, it's okay. It's for eastern Oklahoma. Let me take a look at this real quickly on our side here. Okay, so increasing thunderstorm development, potentially including supercells capable of sizable hail, will be possible as early as 9 to 11 a.m. across eastern Oklahoma. So we will see what ends up happening with this. This may be a good sign. Trying to get some rainfall going across northern Arkansas, but we'll keep an eye on that here. It just depends on if anything begins to develop with that here. So let me see here. So let's see here. May support the initiation of increasing thunderstorm development as early as noon. So that'd be a good sign. If we can get some thunderstorm development across northern Arkansas, that'd be a good sign in terms of severe weather threat here. But right now, it's going to continue to move northward until we get this to indicate here. So let me see here. Garrett, I love your comment as well. You should never be upset if you don't receive bad weather. The biggest thing is, if it's severe weather, not severe weather, if it's winter weather, it's one thing. Because a lot of people like snow and stuff like that. I get the frustration with that. But if it's severe weather, you never want it, because the fact is, if you're dealing with severe weather, it's bringing destruction. It's bringing all that bad stuff. You don't want severe weather, so you should never be upset if you don't see severe weather here, okay? So let me see here. By the way, do not post your phone numbers in the live stream. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Don't do it. We have a whole link, ArkansasWeatherWatchers.com. Go take care of it over there. Do not post that in the comments, guys. And also, the biggest thing I want to stress too, regarding that, it does have the options of opting in and opting out. Make sure that you're being respectful, guys. That is something that is free to the public. It came straight from us and our developer. You did not have to have that option with us here at Arkansas Weather Watchers. So make sure you're being respectful with that product, guys. Okay, so let me see here. Make it go away. I'm trying to. Let me see here. Let me see. The archivist that's here, he was just in Alabama and was New Boston. Megan, I think you're answering somebody else's questions here. So let me see here. So, oh boy, I saw a NOAA vehicle in the hotel parking lot in Stuttgart this morning. Connie, I'm going to ask you a question. Did it look like it had a big radar on the back of it? I'm going to address that straight to you, because if it did, you probably saw Doppler on wheels, and if you saw that, then we've got some attention here in Arkansas, because you normally don't see that unless you have a pretty big severe threat. So let me know in the comments if you saw that this morning here, okay? So I'm just leaving this up, like I said before, I'm leaving timing because everybody that's tuning in immediately is wanting the timing. There's the new update from the Storm Prediction Center regarding day one. So we're going to go take a look at that real quick on our side. My money is they didn't change a thing. That's going to be my money. My money is they didn't change a thing with this one. So we're going to see what ends up happening with this. And give me 1 second. I'm going to take a look at this real quickly. Noah, thank you for sending that. I just saw that as well. Let me see here. So as of the 10 update, so let me see here. Okay, so there's a moderate risk, basically from North Central Texas to the Arkansas, Texas. They really didn't change much with that. Severe thunderstorms, very large hail, size of baseballs are larger, significant damaging winds, upwards 75 miles per hour, and a couple of strong tornadoes are likely from North Texas into the Arkansas, Texas afternoon and into this evening here. So, let me see here. They still are not, and I fully agree with this, they are still not going high risk with this. That is awesome. There's too many questions for this to go high risk at this point here. So I'm going to take a look at the convective outlook at this point. They really didn't shift much with this particular outlook here. Let me see if I can switch this over to our side here, because this is new information coming in. So I don't think they really did too much with it at this point. Okay, so that's what they did. All right, so they did lower the tornado threat. It's no longer a 15% hatch. It's a 10% hatch now for the majority of the area from northeastern Texas and much of Arkansas, North Louisiana, western Mississippi, stuff like that. So it's no longer the 15% hatch for tornadoes here. They still have that 10% hatch, but the wind threat is definitely still there at this point here. So that doesn't mean anything, by the way. I know they also increased the hail threat out here in North Texas here. So it doesn't mean squat. You still have the moderate risk for southwestern Arkansas. The enhanced risk is still here. The slight risk is still here. His stuff as well. It did get shifted just to the west a little bit, but it's not much of an update. That's why I figured. So just keep that in mind here, guys. Like I said before, the tornado threat is still going to be there regardless. We saw the same thing last night. It was a 10% hatch. And it still produced tornadoes. It still produced tornado warnings and stuff like that here. So, also what they did do, I don't know if, so that didn't change what's in North Arkansas either. Okay, so basically that's what's going on up here in North Arkansas. They're banking on heavy rainfall up there in northern Arkansas to save the day. But let's see what ends up happening with this here. So let me see here. The approach wind level. Okay, so you already got cloud breaks across central Texas and western North Texas at this point. Let's see here, just kind of summing everything up. They're really worried about the potential of significant wind gusts with this. And also, the forecast photographs suggest potential of tornadoes, including strong tornadoes. The most favorable wind profiles will correspond tonight when the storm mode looks to become more linear. So basically, they're saying it's going to be more of a, what we call QCS, within the line type tornadoes here. They're saying that the supercell threat is not really standing out as much versus the line at this point, which doesn't mean anything. It does not change the game with this at all. You still have a moderate risk down there in southwest Arkansas for wind, but the tornado threat did come down ever so slightly. But central Arkansas, it still remained the same. Let's go back to that real quickly here. So I'm going to go over this real fast and talk to you guys about the shifts here. So let me see here. So this is the earlier one. Basically, it did get moved to the west. Ever so slightly here. And if I can, and the screen's gonna lag up for just a bit, guys. So I've got to get this up. But give me 1 second here, and I'm gonna see if I can get this up on our side at this current point. So the screen's gonna lag up for just a moment. Gonna be patient with it for just a second. And we're going to get you guys that information here real quickly. So, this is the latest from the Storm Prediction Center. I'm going to go over to Arkansas. Let's go to here, okay? So, I'm going to pull up the moderate. I'm going to pull up the tornado threat. And I'm going to pull up the wind threat at this point. And also the hail. We're going to break this down at this point, okay? So, let me see here. Let me see if I can switch this over to our side over here real quickly here. Okay, there it is, okay? So this is basically the newest update, by the way. I haven't forgotten about you guys with the questions. Let me see here. So Josh, there was 2 Dopplers in Stuttgart this morning. That's crazy that they're out with this here. So with the latest outlook from the National Service, I'm doubtful they'll issue a PDS tornado watch. And I agree. I do agree. I don't think it needs to go that high at this point here. So that's something that we're going to have to watch. This is the latest update with this. There's a moderate risk basically from Pine Bluff, Arkadelphia, El Dorado, Texarkana, Mena, Hot Springs. Everything still remains the same across the board here. Now, there's your tornado threat here. Now, Andy, you may be seeing the 7 a.m. update, but this is the newest one. This is the newest update here. So notice something. Down here in southwestern Arkansas, there's no 15% anymore. There's no, super high tornado threat. This doesn't mean squat. You still have that tornado threat from Mena to Texarkana to El Dorado to Little Rock to Conway to Bald Knob to West Memphis. You still have that tornado threat here. And basically what this means is the hatched area is for the potential of strong tornadoes. We're talking EF2 plus tornadoes at this point. So something to keep an eye on. This does not change the game. I want to stress that right now. This does not change the game with this event. You still have to watch for that tornado potential at this point. North Arkansas, same thing. You're in a lower risk up here, but that doesn't mean squat. It doesn't mean that you're not going to see any tornadoes up there. Make sure you're staying weather aware at this point. Now, the wind threat. The wind threat is what's concerning me the most at this point, and it goes underestimated compared to the tornado threat, but the wind threat could be just as bad as dealing with the tornado threat. And you can see from Mena to Hot Springs to Pine Bluff to El Dorado to Texarkana, it's really standing out with that wind threat. So obviously, if we deal with a wind situation with this, we're still going to be live. We're still going to have information. Like I said before, we're not tornado biased here. We have damaging winds. We have very, very large hail. And we have the flooding threat to cover as well. So keep that in mind. But we're going to have to watch that wind threat from southwestern Arkansas and the central and into eastern Arkansas at this point. And then this is the hail threat over here. And basically, by the way, they've gone 30% over here for the hail threat over here. And I do believe that's the wrong. Okay, that's the wrong one. Let me see. This is the newest one. Okay, so this is the newest one. Over here in southwestern Arkansas, there's your hail threat. It did go 30% out here. Not 30%, 45% out here for hail out here in northern Texas. That's going to be some baseball-sized hail over there near Dallas. But obviously from Mena to Hot Springs over to DeQueen over here in southwestern Arkansas, this is where you're going to have to watch for that very large hail threat. And then obviously you're going to have to continue to monitor it from El Dorado to Little Rock to Conway to Fort Smith. I do believe this is mainly a tornado and wind threat over here. And then it gets lower across northern and northeastern Arkansas. But I'm using lower with a very, very loose term at this point, guys. So let me see here. So I'm going to take a look at everything right now. Definitely everything's live, by the way. And we're going to have live streams ongoing. As soon as this one's over, we're going to have live coverage continuing on YouTube at this point here. So let me double check everything. I think that is it at this point here. So the past 2 days, Energy Arkansas has been set up in the Oaklawn Casino area. They've only been there for a meeting, but I think others. So we'll see what's that here. Okay, so it's Central. So Central isn't a huge concern, just a slight risk right now. Okay, so Alexa, I'm gonna explain that real quick before I hop off of here. Don't be paying attention just to the enhanced or the moderate risk areas. I'm gonna stress this to the day I die. Marginal and the slight risk areas are always underestimated because of the fact that there's always something higher. It's just like when you're dealing with severe weather and winter weather. People prioritize winter weather over severe weather, and it should never be the case. So if you're in the marginal and the slight risk areas, I'm literally begging you guys, do not let your guard down. Let me stress that right now. I'm going to go back over to our categorical risk. So this is your risk. This is your overall risk at this point. So this is from Mena to Conway to Little Rock to West Memphis down into southeastern Arkansas. I'm stressing to you guys, do not think that it is a moderate risk or nothing. You can and still expect severe weather even as far north as southern Missouri, and they're in the marginal risk up there. So keep that in mind. I'm going to take you something real quickly over there in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. The majority of those tornadoes that happened over there last night were in a slight risk, once again. So don't pay attention to just the enhanced and the moderate risk areas and think, oh, hey, I'm in a slight risk, I'm not going to worry about it. That's not the case, okay? I'm begging you, keep your guard up, because if you drop your guard and you're in the low-risk areas and you get under a tornado warning, you're not going to be prepared. You're not going to be ready to go, and that could be bad. That could be very bad for you. So keep that in mind, especially for my folks in northern and northeastern Arkansas. Let me make this perfectly clear. Just because you're in a marginal in the slight risk areas does not mean you will not see severe weather. This is not central and southwestern Arkansas event. This is the entire state I'm talking to at this point. So from Fayetteville to Batesville to Fort Smith to Jonesboro, no matter where you are across the state, have a game plan ready to go for tonight. Have a game plan ready to go. If you don't see severe weather, that's gravy. If you do, you're ready to go regardless of where you are in the risk here at this time here. So keep that in mind, guys. But I'm begging you up there in North Arkansas, do not let your guard down. Now, if we tell you that you guys are in the clear up there, that's one thing. I'm watching for that heavy rainfall threat to start getting going at some point later this afternoon. But right now, at this given juncture, North Arkansas, you are just as much of a risk than central and southwestern Arkansas. It does not mean anything, folks. Let me stress that right now for our folks out there in North Arkansas, because I don't want anyone letting their guard down and something goes wrong up there in northern Arkansas here, okay? And the biggest thing up there is that you're going to be near that warm front. And warm front setups, especially if you're a chaser, you know how they are. They produce. So keep that in mind up there in North Arkansas at this point. So I think that is that's really it at this current time. Let me double check that real quickly here. And I do believe that is it. They should not be testing any weather tornado sirens today. They should not be doing that. If you hear it, I don't know what's going on with that at this point, but at this current time, I think we're good to go. If you need to, if you're off today, get a cat nap in. Get some sleep, relax a little bit during the day today, because tonight is where it's really going to start at this point here, okay? So to kind of reiterate, let me go back over to our timing real quickly here. I know these are the wrong graphics at this point, so this is the timing before I hop off of here, and then I'm going to switch this over to YouTube's continuous coverage here, okay? So from Western Arkansas, 5 p.m. to 12 a.m., 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. for North Central, Central, and Southern Arkansas, and then in Eastern, Northeastern Arkansas, 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Let me make this perfectly clear one last time. No matter where you are in the state, have a game plan ready to go. Stay safe tonight. If a tornado warning or a severe warning gets issued, seek shelter immediately. We will have continuous all-day coverage on YouTube. Facebook will be used for the significant severe weather. If there's a significant severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, we will be live on Facebook. However, that does not mean we will not have coverage on Facebook. Radar updates, posts, all the information is going to be on Facebook as well. So you're not missing anything on Facebook. It's just the fact that YouTube, you can stream all day long, while on Facebook, you're limited to probably, I think, 6 or 7 hours before it cuts you off, which is, we don't want that. We want this to continue all day long. So use YouTube if you have a TV. That way you just leave it on your TV all day long. It's going to continuously stream coverage over there. And then on Facebook, if you see us go live on Facebook, you know it's a tornado warning. You know it's a severe thunderstorm warning. So stay with us tonight, guys. We're going to continue to keep you guys updated right here, your source for all things Arkansas weather.